I don't think it's Americans who are afraid of facing the fact that our political process has been tainted. It is some Americans who are afraid. It is especially Americans in the establishment. It's the press. It's the membership, the top membership of both the political parties. For these professionals, these insiders, it's simply too jarring. It's too big. The implications are too scary. It would rock the boat too much to talk about the fact that we aren't really living in a functioning democracy. I mean, my own experience and the experience of others, whom you've talked to, has been that people generally are smart enough and strong enough to face the evidence of fraud and vote suppression. I mean, as more and more people have themselves been cheated of their votes, have themselves been ejected from polling places, have themselves been told, you're not registered, have themselves pushed a button for one candidate, seen a light for the other candidate. I mean, that's a lot of people. So the more people that happens to, right, the more people can understand, sure, in this system, as in any other voting system, anywhere in the world or anywhere in history, people are going to try to cheat. That's not such a stretch of the imagination, see? But for the gatekeepers, for the guardians of the status quo, and I'm not just talking about the New York Times and CNN, I'm also talking about The Nation and Mother Jones, a lot of left liberal publications. They won't go so far as to entertain the possibility that our democracy has been stolen from us. That's been defined by the establishment as an excessive claim, as an extremist claim, as paranoid, as conspiracy theory.
We are in complete denial in America that we don't have elections anymore. We have manipulations and selections.
We've got a very rich history of election fraud in this nation, yet for some reason it is beyond people's understanding that it could happen here. It has happened here, it could happen here, and it will happen here again. And it's getting easier to happen than ever before because of the privatization, the corporatization of our voting systems, which have thrown all of the oversight into a black box that nobody, not even Superman, can oversee. It's become impossible. Yeah, the horse race is a lot of fun to watch, but keep your eye on the track conditions. When one person can flip an entire county's election, which in turn can flip an entire state's election, which in turn can flip an entire country's presidential election without detection, you've got a problem. And so to predict who could possibly win, I don't care if we're going in there and Obama, Hillary, whoever it is 20 points ahead on the Monday before the election. It would be a sucker bet to say that they're going to win the next day. Not until the Karl Rove's math has come in, I guess.
There is an argument that if the turnout is sufficiently high, it can override all these attempts to basically fix the vote. There is some truth to this, but it is a very dangerous game. If there's a 10-point difference, say, between McCain and Obama in the next election, if there's an upset, despite that 10-point lead, and McCain wins, our press is perfectly capable of accepting it and accepting whatever, preposterous explanation is used to try to explain it away, So, yes, a high enough turnout can probably help a candidate to prevail, but if you take a look at all the tricks that are available to the other side to cheat no matter what, you got to be prepared to get out so many voters that, I don't know, it may well be impossible. It is possible that a victory can be so surprising that even our media would raise questions about it. Even as we're speaking here, you and I, there's a kind of pre-propaganda drive, which is all about making McCain look like he's doing really well, that he could really do well against Obama and so on. Frankly, my view is that with the economy in the shape it's in, and the unpopularity of this war, and John McCain's personal shortcomings, he could never win an election legitimately, never in a million years. Consequently, the trick will be to make it look close enough so that they can then steal it credibly and use whatever rationales they come up with to explain it all away. If they cannot do that, then I suppose I have to say, at the risk of sounding alarmist, that what they may do to prevent a change at the top could end up being far worse than the mere theft of an election.
Assassination?
I don't want to put a name to it, but if they need to postpone the election, if they need to impose martial law, if they need to attack Iran preemptively and need to respond to a terrorist attack on an American city, which may come from who knows where. I mean, this is an old playbook, John, an old playbook. These people didn't invent it, but they have no qualms about using it, it seems to me. I've never seen any evidence that they have any scruples or would honor the rules. It seems to me that they're capable of anything. So I think people should be prepared. You know, my view in all of this is we can't really prevent them from trying to steal an election. The system's too far gone and there's not that much time. But we can prepare people for that happening so that when and if it does happen, they won't simply keel over and feel defeated and like crawling home to die. That's what Kerry did to people when he conceded in 12 hours. People were so blindsided, traumatized, they just gave up for a couple of years. Well, I think people should be prepared not just for that possibility, but for any other as well, because the element of surprise is decisive. And if people are knocked off their pins by some traumatic and unexpected event, they're that much easier to push around.